Today I got a few messages, and one of them is mending. So the essential meaning of mending is forgiveness. And I know a lot of us have a very hard time to forgive because we think that if we hold on to this, maybe perhaps these people that did wrong to you will say, oh man, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. But even if they do say that, it's up to you to really forgive them. It's up to you to stop holding a grudge. It's up to you to stop saying, I wish they would have done this, or why did they do this, or they're going to pay for this. So it doesn't matter whether they ask for forgiveness or not. It's ultimately, it's up to you. It's up to you to let it go, to free it, to forgive it. So this is a message that was given to me. Forgiveness, making amends, healing after arguments. If any of this is happening to you, this message is for you. It says, each time we are hurt and allow the hurt to pass through us without understanding that in integration, we accumulate an unwanted burden. So if we don't let it go, it gets stored in our body. We don't release it just because we stop thinking about it. It just gets stored in our body so later on we can process it. And later on sometimes doesn't come. So you stack things upon things, things that need to be forgiven on top of things that need to be forgiven until, I know some don't believe this, until you end up manifesting a disease or finding the beauty that's in this world, finding it as a place of hell, a place of unwanted injustice, when in reality you have heaven in front of you. It says, each time we are hurt and allow the hurt to pass through us without understanding and integration, we accumulate an unwanted burden. This keeps us chained to the very things we need to heal. The pain, the memories, the echoes of resentment, the arguments that we rehearsed over and over. Now is the time for mending rifts, healing wounds, and letting go of the old hurts in order to reclaim your power. Now is the time to forgive. Now is the time to forgive. Forgiveness is the key out of the matrix. It's not realizing that you're in a matrix. It's actually letting go of all those past hurts, those pains, those injustices. But truly to the core, letting go of the original sin, letting go of all the thing that you compromised, the thing that you had to abandon because you wanted love. So it's letting go of all those times where you abandoned yourself for the love of others, for the love of your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your sister. Now is the time to forgive, to release, to make peace, to make amends to others. Set yourself free. All of those injustices that you feel you have are just tying you down to the reality of your freedom, of your happiness, of your tranquility. So in relationships, you've come to a place where forgiveness is necessary if you're to move forward. Separate or together, you and the other person are still experiencing the effects of a hurt that is impacting everything you do, even if you're not aware of it. The energy needs to clear. What must you do to bridge this gap? Closing your heart is not the answer. You have the power to heal this wound. Ask yourself, and this is very important, if you don't remember anything that I just read and said here, whenever something troubling is happening to you, you feel an injustice from someone else, ask yourself this question: what would love do? What would love do? And feel it in the core of your heart, and act on what would love actually do in this situation. Only good will come of forgiveness and honest redress for the prosperity. It says everyone makes mistakes, especially when you want something very badly. You may come to realize that in chasing after a pretty shiny thing, you lost sight of long-term sustainable prosperity. Sometimes you make choices that look good at first, but ultimately lead to loss or failure. It's time to forgive yourself and others. Don't blame anyone else. You get to start again, wiser and more mature. The journey to true abundance can be bumpy. Make amends to anyone you may have hurt along the way, especially yourself. Forgive those who may have taken advantage of you. Let go and learn from this. You are now that much closer to achieving the kind of prosperity that really fulfills you. Nothing is ever lost or wasted when you view it from this prosperity. I have had a lot of business failures, and it's taken me a long time to start something new because I need to forgive myself for these failures. I need to forgive myself. I need to not feel like I'm not good enough. And that's a process that I'm going through, and that's a process that hopefully in the near future, it will happen. Not hopefully. This is a process that will happen for me, where I have completely forgiven myself for all these failures. As for the protection message, heartbreak is a strange healer of souls. Throughout all of my heartbreaks, I have learned many things about myself, many things about others. But that doesn't mean that because I have had heartbreak, that means I close my heart. Because people don't do things to you that you don't allow them to do. For example, there have been many times where my intuition has said, you better walk away. This is not a good idea. This is not a good person. But the outside evidence didn't match with my intuition. And weeks, months, even years have passed, and I am suffering through something that originally my intuition told me not to go through, not to indulge in this person, not to, to listen to that uncomfortableness that you have, because ultimately you allowed it to happen. And I know you hear that many times, but how many times have you had this intuitive sense not to do something, but you do it anyways? And years pass and you're still there when you first got the message not to indulge in that. Heartbreak is, loss allows us to see ourselves as part of a larger scheme, opening us up to sympathy, empathy, and dependence on others in the moment when we can't hold ourselves together. And it leads us to become one with the greater whole again. Pain and suffering is part of life. It is. Imagine if we just had great things in our lives. Then, I don't know, just think about it. Contemplate or just hold space on that thought. What if everything was perfect in my life? What's going to happen? I'm going to start getting bored. I'm going to start looking for things that I can get myself into, some trouble, so that I can get it out of it, to see what is my reaction. It's all part of the process. Everything is perfect, and it leads us to become one with a greater whole again. Pain and suffering is part of life, and none of us will be immune to it. Can you view this loss, this pain, this dissonance as a way back to source? Of course you can. Let your sorrow break your heart wide open. When you've tumbled and fall, just stay there. Let life pick you back up. You don't have to struggle. Beautiful things, great things in life are for you. They're just waiting for you to receive it, waiting for you to surrender to it. You are loved. You're loved. Now more than ever by Spirit. Who does not want you to feel alone? And a lot of us struggle with that, including myself. One day you will look back and know this is true. Isn't that beautiful? Just for a moment, just think back at your life and think, isn't it such a beautiful story? Isn't it such a beautiful story that you made for yourself before you came into this world? You wrote your story. It's beautiful. Allow it to play in your world. Allow it to play in your universe. Allow the story to complete itself. Don't fight it. Just surrender. Surrender to it. Well, I hope this message from my guides, my source, has helped you, and I'll be doing more videos on this. I got a few messages today, so I'll be giving you a few more messages. All right.